You need more extreme metal music in your library, and you need it right now, don't you? Well, that's good. Stick around for a few minutes because I'll hook you up with some brand new tunes because I too love metal music. Okay, so welcome back, friends, for episode 16. Happy Thursday, January 18th, 2024. Terry here again with Cast Metal and another full metal review where I connect bands with fans just like you. I review extreme metal albums, give a detailed analysis, and when it's over, I decide whether or not they're going into my library. Not everything does make it. And I designed Full Metal Reviews with one question in mind, and that is, where can I get more metal music? So from my Apple Music app, I dig through the metal selection every day and I review all the newest releases for stuff that I can add to my own library, and then I review it, share it with you here on YouTube. And that's about it. And I try to do this every single day. Now, I am admittedly in a rush today. I had some internet troubles and I do have to go to work at midnight. So, as a bonus, stick around. I have something really good to share with you after too from my own treasure chest of music. So, moving ahead, if you like the type of music that is here in the slide that is left to me, then this is going to be the show for you, okay? So let's start the Full Metal Review show. A recap. From yesterday, episode 15, I reviewed 3 brand new releases, one from Rough Justice, one from Drown in Sulphur, and one from Infant Island. And I added all 3 of them to my library, but my clear favorite actually was Rough Justice, the album that is highlighted here in the bigger the bigger section of the slide. Okay. And so today I am reviewing 2 albums, an EP and a single with two songs on it. Now, normally I don't review singles, but in this case, I'm a little wee bit hurried, and these 2 singles were actually pretty good. So first, every Sunday from the metal category on Apple Music, I catalog all of the newest releases and I post them up on my Metal Magazine Facebook page. And from there, I select all of these albums that I want to review. So every week, there's brand new albums. The rules, I review all of the albums without a preview. I avoid normally live albums or single albums, which today I'm not going to do. I'm going to break the rule a little bit. 2, I keep my reviews very short. And 3, not everything will make it into my library. And I won't knowingly provide anyone with a negative review or badmouth anybody because I've never learned how to play an instrument. I don't know how to sing. I'm simply a fan like most of us. All right, so let's go. This is King Yosef single, and it's got 2 really cool tracks on it. So I'm going to unveil this album the same way I would unbox a product to show you a video. As I opened the page, I saw that there were 2 strong sounding tracks. The album cover artwork, as you can see, is black and white with rather regular full capitalized fonts, just regular, I guess. And before I play any album, I try to visualize the outcome, and I always think positive. But in this case, I think that I'm going to be in for something good because I am familiar with King Yosef's earlier work from some of their albums that they've released over the last couple of years. And they are an industrial and new and groove metal type band, akin to Nine Inch Nails or Ministry, but heavier and edgier. They're just a little wee bit more modern, I guess you could call it that. Maybe I'll fry for that in the comments. I don't know. So the process is very simple. With my 4-part checklist, I check for individual tracks, complete album, individual performance, and a summary review afterwards. Okay. So next is a breakdown of each track. Each track is mentioned by number only with a quick description. So track number one in this one, I noticed that it had a sledgehammer heavy sound with a slower tempo, explosive guitar rhythms, and an angry demeanor akin to bands like Throne or Fox Lake with an industrial feel. It was an excellent song. The next track, number two, had a meaningful, deeper feel with some explosive elements that reminded me somewhat of Nine Inch Nails. It was a very sharp 180 from the first track. It was mellower. Okay, and that's it for the two tracks that are on this album. So the recording and sound quality, it was very loud, and I don't know if it was purposely crunchy, but I found even the drums and the snap and the snare drum was kind of crunchy. And I have mixed feelings on that. I've been known to pass on perfectly good music if the recording is distorted. And if there's any bands out there listening to this, okay, try to try to sit down and consider the actual level of distortion or how loud you're trying to put these things out. I can't tell you what to do or anything like that, but that's about it. I don't like distorted and staticky sounding recordings. That's just me. So the production and musicality, it was refined and very well produced, I believe. The energy and intensity was big and satisfying, while the rhythm and tempo was accurate and very deep. Lyrical theme was profound yet angry. Apple categorizes this as metal, and I think it's more industrial with groove and new metal elements in it. So could they go mainstream? I'm thinking to myself, because I don't listen to the radio, I'm thinking certainly, and they may already be on the radio, for example, but they are a very, very heavy metal band. Range, flow, and layout, it's only two singles, so it goes from heavy to a mellower track. Similar to Who, Nine Inch Nails with hues of Ministry, styled industrial sounds, if that makes sense, coupled with angry elements like bands like Throne and maybe even Emure, for example. So there's it'll give you an idea of what that's about. Uh, the next up here is the individual performance description, and the singing and vocalizations are high energy fry with excellent singing range as well. The guitars, they had bursting, explosive, and powerful elements in it. Bass guitar was big and natural. The drums and percussion was full deep with pronounced snap to all the skins. While I found that any additional sounds came from abundant sampling and synthesizer overlays. So in summary, was my prediction accurate? Well, I already know about King Yosef, and they're very diverse in their sound. Again, it's an industrial, new and groove metal type feel, very unique in concept. So my favorite track was the first one. Chills and Goosebumps, of course, the first one was such a big, strong song. Tonality shades was a lighter dark. I would say it was on the darker side with the color of gray, if I was to give it a color. The temperatures, hot or cold, I gave it a cooler feel. Hide it from my wife factor, I actually believe she would like this. I think she's a Nine Inch Nails fan and a Rage Against the Machine type fan, so I think that she would go for this. Is it going into my library? Okay, drum roll here. I will stream them again and probably dive into their other stuff too. I haven't heard from King Yosef in a little while here, so it might be good to check them out. Now, please make sure that you try this for yourself. Okay, if you haven't heard of King Yosef, I think that maybe you might like them if you're into industrial, new, or groove metal. All right, let's move ahead to our next band. All right, this is Alluvial. And once again, the same way I would unbox a product to show you a video, as I open the page, I see 4 strong tracks. Okay, this is an EP, and I really like the album cover. It has a worn looking feel. But as you can see, it looks like somebody is trying to dig their way out of a grave. All right, same as earlier before, I try to visualize the outcome and I always think positive, of course, but in this case, I believe I'm in for something really heavy, something in the range of maybe deathcore, metalcore, or even some death metal. I'll compare my visions afterwards with, the results and so on and so forth. So the process, as I explained earlier, I create a 4-part checklist to document everything to share with you. So we'll get going. Individual track description. Track number 1, the first track was thunderous and crunchy, yet it had an ominous feel with excellent variations in tempo, while track number 2 had a deeper grinding guitar and bass sound with explosive drumming elements and chainsaw-like vocals. This guy was he was a real deep growling vocalist. Track number 3, it hit me like a hammer with commanding growling vocals and wicked speed and tons of dark harmonies and brutal changes in tempo that a lot of people like in a deathcore band. Track number 4 is more akin to a dark ballad, and track 4 surprised me with very clean to fry vocal variation harmonies, and harmonies rather that switch to really cool attacking rhythms and some really deep drumming. And that's it for that one. There's only 4 tracks on that album, and that is Alluvial, Death is But a Door. And the recording sound quality is good, but I think that they're really pushing the limits of the technology with the loudness here. The production was on the raw side. The energy and intensity was varying from high to really high. Rhythm and tempo was good with excellent range and change-ups. Lyrical theme was a life after death lyrical feel. Was Apple right? They said metal, and I think more in the range of deathcore, maybe with little flavors of death metal and maybe even some metalcore. It was really, really intense stuff. Could they potentially go mainstream? I doubt it because they are a very heavy band. The range and the flow and the layout was, for an EP, I would say it was good from beginning to end, and there was no bad tracks whatsoever. They're quite similar to, I believe, in the Spite band area. If you're familiar with the band Spite, their Spite is one of my favorite bands, and I think that this band here, Alluvial, will fit in really nicely in that area for me. During listening, the individual performance from each artist, the vocals were just beastly fry vocals, and the clean vocals were actually stunningly good. This guy can sing, or his backup singer rather can sing. The guitars were excellent and crunchy and with well-fitting solo work. Bass guitar sounded like it had teeth. The drums and percussion had excellent range, speed, and snappy full sound. And there was no additional synthesizer or sampling work that I really found much of, maybe a little wee bit. In summary, now that I've listened to the entire album, was my prediction accurate? First off, it was. I was bang on here the last few times I was not. So my favorite tracks, all of them were great, to be very frank with you. Emotionally, it was another white knuckle ride. Tonality shades, light or dark. It was a mix of both light and dark tonalities here. The colors, black with yellow for energy. Temperature, was it hot or cold? It was a mix of hot and cold temperatures. The ballad at the end, I believe it was very deep and it was very cool. Hide it from my wife factor for sure. And that's it for my review. Okay, so please make sure to give Alluvial, Death is But a Door, a try. I think that you guys will enjoy that. And that's it for my quickie episode of Full Metal Reviews. Oh, and I promised you something from my treasure chest. So right now I want to recommend to you Year of the Knife and the album. It's a rather new album. It's called No Love Lost. It's a female singer and she is an absolute screamer. She's fantastic. I think that you guys will like the raw sound of Year of the Knife. I hope so anyway. And that's it for today, my friends. So join me again soon for another episode. I'm really glad I got this one out at such a late time. That subscribe button, it won't hit itself. Please do subscribe. I really want to get you guys more metal. Set your notifications on so that you can get all of this stuff and you can get the inside scoop here. Okay, and last but not least, please support your bands by any means necessary. Please stream their music often. Get the merch, go see them live if you can. And with that said and done, I am completely done. I want to wish you guys a happy evening, and we will see you guys tomorrow with more Full Metal reviews. Cheers.